Hello, it's Matthew David Hurtado, your host of the Natural Health Report. And today, my guest is Michelle Arbeau, celebrity numerologist. And Michelle is on a cruise ship in Mexico right now, bringing us some sunshine. And we're going to talk about mental health today and how it relates to some of the prescription medications out there and some natural alternatives that may be right up your alley if you're looking to boost your state of mind and your well-being. So with that said, I'm going to introduce you to Michelle. How are you, Michelle?
I'm cool. I'm good. I got a little sun, a little sand. I went in Ensenada today, so it was fun. Forgot my cash, so I had to go in the stores that took credit because, you're so used to being on a cruise ship, and they say don't bring cash, don't do cash. You do everything with your sail and sign card, they call it. So then I'm like stuck downtown Mexico with no cash. So, and then I didn't have the pins to my card, so there was a banking machine, but I thought, I don't have my pins, and I don't know what they are, and I have a bazillion passwords and pin numbers, and you name it, and you think I'm the numbers person that I would remember that, but, when you need it most, you don't remember it. But, mental health, I have some questions for you, Matthew, as we get going, because I had this, I guess, synchronistic event happened to me where I had this Uber driver. I had the seizure recently, so I have to, Uber's my new best friend. So I had an Uber driver, which is like a taxi service, drive me to, I can't remember where he was taking me, but he said that he takes amino acids and things like that for depression and balancing things out on his own naturally. So once we get going, Matthew, maybe you can answer that and talk or elaborate a little bit in particular, but I want to just add, there's so many people out there with depression, and I think that it is more situational depression than anything else. I think there's, it's a 50-50 thing. I think that the body is also out of balance, and because we eat all the wrong things and, fast food, and we don't sleep enough, all those things, we just go, do, and we're not taking care of our body and mind, and that therefore our soul suffers as well. So our soul is, I guess our body is the vehicle for the soul. So if that's not in tip-top form, then we can't deliver the message or live out the truths that our soul wants to express. I know that sounds really like, new agey, what I just said, but it's true. I mean, we are like, what they say, souls in human form. So the body is so important. And I had suffered from depression for quite some time throughout my adult years, and for various reasons. I mean, I remember being in corporate and going to my first counselor and saying that I was depressed and saying that I was just low, and I didn't, the typical symptoms, didn't enjoy the things that I once did, didn't want to be, a participant in life other than just going to work and eating and sleeping. And she really said it was situational depression at that time. And it so was true for me, because throughout the whole context of my adult years, none of the antidepressants ever worked for me. They never worked. It was like popping air. You pop all these pills and nothing for me. And I thought, why am I taking these? Why am I subjecting my body to all of these weird drugs? And, especially in the US, it's even worse, I think, than Canada, because, they have like a whole medicine cabinet. Each person has their own little pharmacy in their house, and they've got so many things for this and that and the other thing. And it's just mind-boggling. So none of them ever were relational depression. So I was helped more through just fixing what was wrong with my life, more or less. And that's exactly what I did. I went through and fixed. I wasn't happy in corporate, obviously, so that was the big step number one. But then there's another kind of depression, and a lot of women have it, and they don't realize it until it's too late, is postpartum depression. And I had severe postpartum depression with my first child, and it was so severe that I didn't love her. And I can, honestly say that I didn't love her for about the first year of her life. I was her nanny, and begrudgingly I was her nanny. And it really was, in hindsight, related to my thyroid. So there's just so many things out there that can affect your mood and the hormones. It's just, I shudder to think of all the drugs that not only adults take, but children now. And then all those drugs that children are put on. it's just crazy. So that's my 2 cents so far, Matthew. So what can you say to that so far? Because I know you've got a zillion things you want to say, I'm sure.
Well, I agree with you 100%. I had a similar experience in my early 20s. I had depression. They put me on Wellbutrin, and they tried even benzodiazepines when I had anxiety disorder. And I tried all the drug approaches, and they only made me worse because they made me feel like I was losing control even more. And I really wanted to gain control. I wanted to understand my body. What I know today, and I'm not a doctor, but what I know about disease is that when your body has a lack of ease coming from the mind or from your environment or somewhere, the environment can affect the DNA, and it can trigger these things on and off. When you try to shut down one pathway with a drug or something, what's going to happen is the body's very clever. It's going to open a new pathway and manifest symptoms in a new way. And many people experience that. They call those side effects a lot of times. So really, in reality, there's a lot of things out there like L-theanine, there's GABA, there's L5-MTH, all sorts of natural things you can do. And one good way to find out is you can do a neurotransmitter test. Saber Sciences is one company that does it, and you can order out for it with a saliva swab kit, and they'll actually tell you, like, pretty precisely, what kind of things are off in your chemistry.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm gonna get one of those for sure, because I think everybody can do those. I definitely think even if you don't think you have depression, I think that it's a good idea to just see where you're at with that. And I'm a firm believer that it's all about balance. It really is, because no matter if it's your hormones or chemistry, brain chemistry, whatever it is, it's all about finding that balance again and rebalance that it's supposed to be. And I just think that to me, at one time, the psychiatrist that I had me on like 4 different medications, and I kept saying to her, "Are you sure that I need all of these?" And she said, "Yes, this is for this, this is for this, this is for this." Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to question because she's the doctor, right? Doctors are supposed to invest, but really they're driven by the drug companies, right? I mean, they make money. They encourage the doctors to sell. They're almost like their own salesmen for the companies. So I do question them. And you were talking about Wellbutrin, for example.
Yeah.
And so far, all the tests I've had with my seizure, they have only linked one thing to the seizure so far. Everything else has come back normal. It is the Wellbutrin. And they had me on that at the time of my seizure, which now they have listed on my chart as being allergic to Wellbutrin. So that's likely what caused my seizure. Maybe, a combination of the fact that I was standing on the sidewalk in the sun, and, I was heading on a big trip to San Francisco and my car broke down. I'm sure it was a combination of a lot of different things, stress factors, stuff like that. But I think the Wellbutrin probably put me over the edge. It probably was the tipping factor in that seizure, for sure. And, they can come after me and sue me all they'd like for putting this on air, but it's the truth. I mean, on my chart, it does say I'm allergic to Wellbutrin. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not good for everybody. It just means that for me, it definitely, the cons outweigh the pros tenfold, for sure. And it just, I definitely felt a difference when I came off of that, because I used to be really hot and sweaty all the time. And even if I walked the stairs or something, I would get to the top and be all huffing, puffing and be, moist from just that. I thought, wow, I'm getting out of shape. I can't even walk to the top of the stairs. But it wasn't that. It was the Wellbutrin that was causing me to have, because it is a mild stimulant as well, just very mild. But it was enough for me to have high blood pressure. I had 144 over 90 something at one point during the time I was on it. And that's really, really high for someone in my age bracket. So I just, I'm glad I'm off of it now. And I don't think I'll ever have another seizure again. But that just goes to show you that there are serious side effects. And I stopped breathing for about 2.5 minutes of that seizure. My lips were blue, and I wasn't breathing. So it's definitely hit or miss depending on who you are and what you're taking in terms of the drugs that are out there.
Yeah, and you don't have to look too far. You can Google it, but see the yearly deaths that occur by prescription. I mean, they're toxins, to make a long story short, and any toxin in the body creates, more lack of ease in the body. That's just the way it goes. The toxicity and deficiency are the two causes of cellular malfunction, and cellular malfunction is disease. So when you think about how do you get yourself feeling better, everybody goes through ups and downs. I mean, I've been through ups and downs my whole life. It's just part of the life process. And sometimes when we're in a bottom, we want to get back up again. But there are many natural ways to do it. And some of those natural ways have been proven to be more effective in many cases than some of the pharmaceutical alternatives. So it's definitely worth looking into your options. And the one thing I want to point out is that the pharmaceuticals, they had you on 4 of them. Well, who's tested those all together to realize what that does to your biochemistry?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that they just keep adding them and adding them and adding them, and they don't really check to see if that particular person should be on those 4 different medications per se, because I'm sure at the time that psychiatrist, I haven't seen her since, because I got a different health plan. And so I was going to a different hospital, different facility altogether. So she is unaware of the fact, which I should inform her, is she's unaware of the fact that is so far the cause of my seizure that I had, so that it doesn't happen to someone else. And I definitely should give her a call and let her know that, this is likely the case, what caused my seizure. So hopefully I'm do the same thing to someone suspecting, in some, but I'm right there with you, Matthew, because I think supplements are so powerful. And, I can attest to that, because during the time I was on those 4 different medications, I was looking for something that was holistic or something that would allow me to come off of those medications. And one thing I found was this medication, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. It was just a powder. It was like a amino acid or something. And I really can't think of the name. And you might be able to help me with this, Matthew. Mm-hmm. But it was for anxiety. And they said that Russian astronauts used it for anxiety in space because they didn't want to give them this type thing in powder form. And it made me, and this is the power of, most people think holistic. They think, it's not going to do anything. I'm just going to pop these prescription drugs because they have an effect. This holistic stuff is just all a bunch of bull. But it's not. Was off the hook. It did help with anxiety. Trust and believe, it did help with anxiety, but it made me very aggressive. It made me want to literally get out my aggressions physically. And I'm not going to, pick a physical fight with anybody or anything like that anytime soon. But I almost felt like I needed to hit something or punch something. And that is not me at all. And I didn't hurt anybody, of course, but I read a forum later. I was kind of doing my research after the fact, and I thought, whoa, this stuff is really did help. It really did. But with the testosterone, but the forum was a bodybuilder. Person said he was a bodybuilder, and he took it, and he said when the birds came up at 4 a.m., he wanted to because of the chirping. And I thought, oh dear. So I went to get the little pouch and I put it in the garbage because I thought, I'm never ever taking this again. So I wanted to say cheers, by the way, because we're here in Mexico. Well, I am. Poor Matthew's got his winter toque on. But I wanted to show that, I don't know if you can see that window there, but, this is a funny thing, Matthew. I don't know if you've ever been on a cruise, but they said they can to less balconies, not more balconies. And I thought, why in the world would someone want to do such a thing? But apparently non-balconies were all the rage, and there's literally only 10 balconies on this whole ship on one side and then 10 on the other side. So there's like 20 rooms with the actual not feeling like you're caged in. And they go really quick. There's a wedding happening right now on the ship too, and they're gone. So it's like claustrophobia going on here.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely in paradise. Like you said, we're back in 40-degree weather again in Wisconsin. So that's why I'm all geared up for this. Plus, it's rainy out a little bit too. So just one of those days. But, To
Yes.
make a long story short, I think you were using probably either L-theanine or GABA or tryptophan, something like that. It was the 5-HTP. One of those were probably one of the ones you were using for the anxiety, I would imagine.
No, it was something else. It was called, I think it started, oh, I know what it was. It started with a PH. Phenibut. Yes, that's what it was.
Okay, you were herbal. Yeah. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. So it was meant for that type of thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was horrible. So I don't recommend it to anyone. I don't know if you've ever tried it, Matthew. It's not good for depression or anxiety if it has that side effect. So it's just trial and error, I think. If you're looking for something to control depression and anxiety, it's an individual thing. I think you really need to do your homework and do your research and find out what works for you, because what works for you may not work for the next person. And
yes,
the reason being body chemistry, right? And you may be off balance in one area, whereas Matthew, you might be off balance in another area. So, and we still might both have depression, that kind of thing. So it depends on, makeup. And I would highly recommend to people even go see like a naturopathic doctor, someone who's more well-versed in natural health, and they'll be able to maybe do some of those tests like you were saying, Matthew, the saliva tests and all that stuff to see what you're out of balance with.
Yeah, mine came back. It was really profound because I realized that, I've always been kind of down a little bit my whole life. And I did the saliva test, and it came back that I was what's called a reverse methylator. I never heard of it, but what it means is that I don't process things like the same as everyone else in some way. And it was something as simple as it's called L5-MTH, which is almost like a B vitamin, like folic acid, and that's what my body needed in order to correct the neurotransmitters. And when I'm on it, I can tell like within a couple days, I feel normal again. And when I don't have it, it's like, man, I feel like kind of a funk. So
really?
Yeah, that's how profound it was for me. I never knew such thing existed, but I found out with the test. Yeah.
Wow. We've got to talk after the show, Matthew.
Yeah.
I'm going to find what you've been taking, because I think, Matthew, I have to say, you're one of those people that have really turned your life around, because you've been through a heck of a lot in terms of health. Not just mental health, but health in general. So, I mean, you've had everything from Lyme's disease to depression to you name it. So, I mean, it's up to you fixing all of that yourself and being able to figure out how to do that, because most people can't. And then they just end up, going along in this funk, like you say. And so it's definitely something with other people in some way, maybe a course or a class or something, because a lot. I mean, I definitely think you're in the know when it comes to that stuff. And
I calculated.
Think about how many people suffer from depression, right? Oh my God, exactly. It's like off the hook.
Exactly. The one thing I did that everybody should consider is I did my own due diligence. The doctors would say one thing, but a natural doctor would say another thing. But, and at the end of the day, I wanted to weigh out the risks and the rewards and the pros and cons and find my own solutions. And I think everybody needs to kind of do that. Take responsibility for your own health, and don't just give it away to an authority, because they're not you. You know your body better than any authority out there, no matter what they tell you and how many degrees they have, because you live in your body every single day.
Right. Yeah. Just, I know that people don't want to question doctors, but just go with your gut, because like with me, when I was saying in the beginning that I said to my psychiatrist, are you sure that those are all necessary? And if you don't feel that they are, then they probably are. And look what happened to me. I had the seizure and the whole 9 yards. So go with how you feel. And if it doesn't feel right, then it's likely you need to move on to maybe, try natural first. Always try natural. The drugs are, like you say, toxins in the body. So go natural first and then move up if necessary. But definitely with depression, I think even children these days, I mean, I see so many children that they seem depressed. They definitely are either or depressed in some way. Their parents, I mean, there's a lot of parents who are depressed, and then what happens to the children who are very intuitive, they pick up on that. So It's
Yes.
definitely whittling its way to generations.
Well, even animals these days, animals are like an extension of their, human caretakers. And you can see animals with psychiatric diseases because they live with humans. And, we're going through some turbulent times for many people. There's a lot of people that are having financial problems, health problems, relationship problems. And it's so much data coming at us with all of the information out there that the kids pick up on it. And what do? You have to keep their constitution strong. You have to, focus on the body itself. It's a living organism. It needs 72 essential minerals every single day. It needs water, fresh air, sunlight. Basically you have to think of becoming stronger than the problem. A lot of people focus on the problem, and what happens is when you stay stuck on the problem, you can't find the solution. You actually have to step outside of the problem and focus on becoming stronger than the problem. And if you think of your body as a living organism, you want to think of how you can support that to become as strong as it possibly can be. And that's, good, healthy eating, getting all of your minerals and vitamins every single day, fresh air, sunlight, exercise, all the basic things that we need, love, affection, nurturing. Those can do wonders for people. And even there's a book out, I think it's Lisa Madsen. She's an MD, medical doctor. She wrote a book, and she talks about how the environment is so critical for healing that people that were in a loving, nurturing environment, their chances and their odds of getting well were extremely high. And people that didn't have that, their chances were very low of getting well. So all these things matter.
Yes. No, I agree. It's all about balance, like I was saying.
Yeah.
It truly is. And it was really evident to me when we went on this trip, because I thought, wow, what is it that I've been doing for so long that I had to stop doing? Was, working myself to death, always doing something from morning till night. And it was almost like I got into this stage of being a drone, just going through the motions, and wasn't taking care of me. And now that I'm on this trip and I don't even have my cell phone, gasp, people watching this with no cell phone. And it's true. I mean, we're in Mexico now, so the cell phone has to be off, and it's just me, myself, and I in terms of, connection to the world, so to speak. And it's been really nice to just let go and just be relaxed and do nothing. And I never allow myself to just do nothing. And so it's been a nice change of pace, and I just realized how much it's been neglected, that side of things, and the balance. It just truly, truly is all about balance. But Matthew, I wanted to ask you, I saw on your Facebook, before we go, because I definitely think we don't want to rock the boat. We've got a good, solid almost half hour, and I don't want to, the internet will probably go down any time, and I don't want to be cut off. But I wanted you to tell me about the new company, the new products, the new whatever that you've got going on, and just share with us briefly what's happening with that.
Well, what's really exciting, obviously, you have an inside track on this, Michelle, but we have a company called Earth One Essentials, and right now it's 8 products, and it's coming together pretty rapidly. And we're going to build the website with the first ever artificial intelligence platform that's ever been released to the world. I just saw the opportunity to get involved and become a founding member, so I got on board. But what's so cool about it is that the site will be developing itself in real time, and the products are so in real time too. But it's all going to be focused on basically a kit for different solutions, different types of issues. If you have anxiety, if you have these kind of issues, there'll be a kit to help you out. And we're not talking 10 products in a kit. I'm talking like one product is a kit, and it's one-stop shop for what you need. And that's kind of where we're going. Sneak preview.
Yeah, I love the idea. I love the concept. So, for example, we're talking about it being easy, and I think that's where Americans in particular have gotten a little lazy, because they just go to the doctor, get a prescription, and pop a pill. Well, it's the same concept where, you don't have a lot of time, so you walk into the drugstore and you beeline for the first product that jumps out at you. And if it says anxiety or treats anxiety, then bam, I'm going to get this one because I've got to run. And so that's the whole concept behind your products, and I love it, because I think it'll help with the impulse shop. But the best thing is that, there'll be garbage, it's customer, because it's gonna, got both sides of the spectrum. You've got the marketing and solid products that are gonna help people with their conditions.
Yeah.
So now that we've got this solid chunk, we should wrap it up, Matthew. So if you want to wrap it up and
yeah, well, just to make a long story short, I think you have great experience, going through, you've been through a lot yourself, you've learned a lot. And, when we talk about, we said it all with mental health, but anybody listening, just, research what's out there, do what's right, do what feels right, and stay tuned because there's more to come. And you and I, Michelle, will get more into the Earth One essentials as we go forward, and we'll touch base again. And that's pretty much it for now. Just wanted to basically touch base.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Maybe we could do a show per kit and really focus on the condition that the kit is meant to be focused on. I think it'll be a cool concept, and it'll help a lot of people for sure. Yeah, we've just touched the tip of the iceberg of this topic, but I wanted to at least do a quick little blurb on it just because it's such a fresh topic in my life right now. And of course, I wanted to do a show from Mexico. It's work. No, I'm going back to the poolside, so I won't be bothered with work anymore. This was just a quick little show that I wanted to add in there for you because I know you wanted to do a show. So Thank you for having me, Matthew. And it was a great topic. I love talking about this because it helps so many people.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Michelle. It's great to touch base with you. I wish I was on the cruise ship with you right now because we'd be having so much fun. Maybe next time.
Yeah, we'll do the show together. All right, thank you, Matthew.
All right, take care. Have a good time.